Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody who's interested, this is the Golf Lovers United podcast. I am Ben, Golf Love UK, and the beautiful shaven man to my side is Pro Golf Critic with Son's beard. The beard's gone again. What's happening?
Yeah, it's something that I do. We've had a little heat wave here in the Bay Area the last week, and whenever it gets hot, the beard's got to go. The hair up top's got to go. The beard's got to go. The whole nine. So it is what it is. Really quick before we get started, I've always wanted to do this. Everybody listening, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and smash that like and hit that subscribe button right now. And also, if you're listening to this on podcasts, please feel free to give us a 5-star review. We've had a lot of haters, and initially we've sort of filtered out a lot of those guys. So the people that have stuck with us, please give us that 5-star review. Thank you.
What is it they say? Smash, like, and follow, share, all of that. Look, we've done really well over the last sort of year. It's almost a year anniversary, and we've grown the podcast, and our footprint's increased. But yeah, if you can like it, if you can share it, if you can recommend it to your friends, even if you don't like it, just press like. You're still here. And if you want to go to glugc.com/support and throw us a few quid, that'd be great. This all costs money, and we don't make any doing it. So if you could send us some, so I don't have to keep saying to my wife, I can't feed us, that'd be great. Look, Jay.
It's a little bit dramatic, but okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit dramatic, yeah. But there we are. As is my want in life. So for the real avid fan listeners that are watching, you will recognise they are my parents' curtains. I am back in Hereford. My mother has took a turn for the worse. You can't write this year, Jay. It's
yeah, I know.
It's mental, but there we are.
Yeah,
but you,
it's crazy.
As always, offer me support. So good to have everybody listening, and thank you so much for taking your time. Now let's fire into it.
Yep.
Yasir looked good, didn't he? That putt, walking that putt in.
Yeah, it was a great,
Yeah.
the Dunhill was box office. That was one of the best events of the year.
It's a great event. It's a fantastic event.
It really is.
3,500 pro golfers, it feels like, on 3 courses at one time. It's just so good.
3 great courses too. A lot of great. I've seen a lot of people sort of, particularly in the corrupt golf media, talk about, oh, it's just millionaires and billionaires there. When it's like, I mean, a lot of those people, they deserve to be there because they're literally funding golf, number one, and number two, there's a lot of really high-end celebrities there, and like former athletes, like Gareth Bale, who I wasn't really that familiar with, not really being a soccer guy. Gotten more familiar with him. John Elway, for the American football fans, was over there. Michael Douglas, huge actor. Bill Murray, everybody knows Bill Murray. So I mean, it's just a great event. I wish we would actually have more of these pro-ams.
Jay, also, like, oh, it's for millionaires and billionaires. What would you expect? Do you expect the guy who earns 25 grand a year to buy himself into the event? Are we just meant to be giving these places away? It's a commercial venture. They pay to be in them. People, this is a massive misconception. Loads of people think that these pro-ams are just invite only and they cost nothing. Some people do get it comped, but the large majority that get it comped are because they've put in 25 million to the sport in the last 5 years.
Yeah,
like this isn't. Yeah, you're not just going to offer it to some guy who works down the road, like doing whatever job he does. Like, oh, let's do a raffle, and okay, John Smith from Queen Street's just got it. Like, it's not. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
rich people can buy nice things.
Yeah, and look, as much as I promote golf as being a sport for everyone, it is still, especially here in the United States, it's still a rich person sport. It really is. I would like to change that for sure. However, these, especially at the pro level, look, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of rich people want to invest in the sport. Part of that is because a lot of people that have money are very interested in golf. This is the thing that a lot of people don't get about the economics of golf, juxtaposed with the economics of like other sports. Golf is such a revenue generator from so many different angles that like other sports do not have that same revenue. They just don't. So
No,
anyway, I'm not going to
look,
get into too much.
no, and it is what it is. But look, it's a fantastic event. Well, I'd like to see more of the pro-ams. I don't want them to jump the shark and be
Right.
too pro-ammy. The last
Yeah.
thing I want to see is 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
I've got a
I
great
enjoy
idea
it.
though. I've got a great idea though. I haven't posted this yet. I really would like there to be one of these huge pro-ams in like the 4 areas in the world that are sort of what I consider the cradles of golf. So we already have one in Scotland, obviously. We've already got one here in Northern California for the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am.
Cradle of Golf?
Yeah, Cradle of Golf.
It's
Yes,
not
yes.
Cradle of Golf.
Oh, it's
Golf had existed for 60 years before California was settled. Let's not make it existed for
no.
60 years in the United States.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Come on. Let's not
Between
rewrite history.
Pebble Beach, Cypress Point, Spyglass Hill, Monterey Peninsula.
That's not what cradle means. Cradle of civilization is where civilization came from. We're not having cradle of golf. You can say a great center of golf. You can have a centre. We're not having cradle of golf.
No,
your own country existed for 80 years before you.
No.
Not having it.
Cradle of civilization means that's someplace where like the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East. It's a fertile land where a lot of things sprung from. Golf is the same thing. Northern California has great weather. It has a great environment where great golf courses have sprung up. This is just a fact. So anyway, back to my point.
Cradle of golf. It's a centre.
Back to my point.
Right.
Back to my point. I would like to see 2 others. I would love to see one on Long Island. Have like a Shinnecock
There's
National
a shock.
Golf
You want
Links.
you want 2 in America. There's a surprise. Why not? Let's put it in other cradles.
Look, America's a big place. It's a very big place. Number 1. Number 2, like these are 2 of the best centers / cradles of golf in the world. Then I would
won in 1776. Like honestly, us losing in 1776 has been an absolute liability. Look at you lot since then.
Don't get me started. So the 4th one, just to satisfy you here, I would also like there to be one in Australia around the Melbourne area where we could have
Sandbelt,
one.
yeah.
Sandbelt, Royal Melbourne. We could have one at Kingston Heath. We could have maybe Victoria or Metro. That's another one that's going to attract a lot of people from around the world. So I think we should have more of these. I think that they're really cool things where you sort of get these interesting collections of people together, and I like to see it a little bit more. Not too much. I think 4 is perfect.
Okay. I'm tired already. Cradle is where something comes from.
See, no, I disagree. A cradle is something that like fosters the growth of something. Like the cradle of a baby. Cradle of a baby is something that fosters the growth of that baby. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on before we spend too much time on defining terms. People on Twitter do this to me already too much and have to body bag them too. So let's just move on.
You haven't body bagged me. We're just going to disagree because I think you're wrong and you think you're right. Anyway, for the audience, all tune out and no one follows and no one likes and subscribes. Interesting that the match. It's not called the match. What they called it now? I can't remember what they called it. My brain's gone blank. What have they called?
Showdown.
The Showdown.
The Showdown.
Mm-hmm. Going to be December 17th, and they're still looking for a headline sponsor. Now, I'm wondering if it's going to be Aramco.
Very well,
legitimately, why couldn't it be Aramco?
It certainly could be. I think that there's a lot of options out there, and this is like one of the things about the Dunhill. Also, before we move on, shout out to Tyrrell Hatton for winning the Dunhill.
And winning it brilliantly, played really well. Well, obviously played with his dad, played great golf, equaled the lowest ever score around St Andrews. Fantastic week. He's so many things he did around there. So we both love him to bits. He's a lovely guy, and he might be a bit sweary, but he's a nice bloke. Good win. And actually, there was a lot of really good golf played that weekend. Some really good performances. And I sometimes wonder that, is it one of those situations where they can take a bit of a breath? They've had obviously the LIV players didn't have their championship, but other players, do they get to take a bit of a breath, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just, I think certain people, certain players, they respond really well to this sort of pro-am environment that, to be clear, is very, very different from a lot of the other tournaments that are out there. Like your rounds take a lot longer for sure, just having all these amateurs that are not necessarily, most of them are not that good. And it's also kind of an environment where you are schmoozing a little bit more than you normally would. And I think certain players just play better in those environments. Like, it's not a coincidence. This is Tyrrell Hatton's third time winning this event. It's not a coincidence that like someone like Phil has won the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am 5 times. Like, that's not a coincidence. Certain players respond really well to this particular environment, and I think that you kind of saw it here. I do think that it provides some of the players a little bit of a break. I think a lot of these guys are really comfortable with the people that they are paired up with. Like, I know John Rahm and Brooks, had very comfortable pairings for them too, and they finished in the top 10. So so it was a great event. Really enjoy it. Tyrrell Hatton just played really well. Nico Colsaerts, shout out to him, like the vice captain of the Ryder Cup, European Ryder Cup team.
Rolling back the years.
Really, like I did not see this coming. Him shooting 3 straight 65s, and then that last day it got a little bit more difficult on the old course. The scoring was not easy. It was a lot more, difficult. Tyrrell Hatton and Nico shot 70 last day. So, I thought it was really great. Tommy Fleetwood played great. There's a lot of David Puig. Shout out to David Puig. He's been playing really well the last few weeks on the European Tour, finishing 4th. And we already talked a little bit about Rahm and Brooks. So, but yeah, Shane Lowry up there, Clean Dean Burmester, or Dean the Machine, I need to start calling him, top 20. So yeah, it was a lot of great performances. So it was really fun to see. It's one of the best events of the year, no question about it.
And interesting, the rumor mill will start, if it hasn't already. I can't really remember seeing a single clip of Rory where he wasn't with either a LIV player or a LIV staffer or the head of the PIF. Like,
that was not a coincidence either. Like, I promise people that was not a coincidence. I mean, Rory was out there playing with his dad Jerry. Except, he's paired with Dean and Yasir. There were so many great pictures of them playing at the old course. That was a lot of fun. I guess that was Saturday when they played the old course, and you had Yasir playing the road hole and like having to hit it off the wall. Like, that's just like, that was such box office to me. Like, and like, they were obviously having a great time. Rory, like, one of the things people don't realize, and I know this for a fact, Rory and Yasir are a lot closer than people think. And I think that there was like this, like, a sense of surprise seeing, Rory and Yasir chumming it up as much as they were. But this is not a surprise to me or you.
You shouldn't be a surprise to anyone if they got half a brain. Rory already admitted that they had the conversations last Christmas, and that they had spoken to them before. So
they've had a lot more conversations than that too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Even though I mean that he's admitted, if you want to bury their heads in the sand, that's entirely up to them. If you want to pretend this isn't happening, that's entirely up to you. Now, back to the match. The showdown. A certain bold bloke who presents his show with you, me, said very clearly that there's a checkmate in play here that Rory and Scottie are doing, which is either PGA Tour don't let us play because we're breaching the rules and ban us once we tee it up. Yep. Send us, put up the tweet like you did when every single player teed up the ball at Centurion the first time, or ever since they've teed up a ball, the PGA Tour put up, they're now banned, the media effect, blah, blah, blah. So he's saying either do that or grant permission. Well, did you see it was buried in that article on, what day is it then? Today Friday? I got no idea.
Yeah, I think it was early. It was like Tuesday or Wednesday when it came out.
Article. The reason it was going to be the 17th was because they went for the PGA Tour approvals to come through. So, how can the PGA Tour now not grant anyone else an approval to play? I'm not saying to go and join LIV, but I mean to use their name, image, likeness for everything else. because they've now allowed Rory and Scottie to go and do it.
Yeah.
I would imagine an employment tribunal wouldn't find fairly that if they said that Rory and Scottie could go and do something, name, image, likeness, that other people can't. They might be able to get away with them playing on a different tour full time, but one-off event here or there.
Or, and to sort of add on onto that, what if, and we've already talked about this a little bit, LIV goes to 60 players and they maintain 4 wildcard spots every single week.
Yeah,
Now
so let's
all
do
of a
that.
sudden,
Let's do that second. Let's do that second.
Okay.
The PGA Tour have granted that. What do you disagree with me? I don't see how they can't continue to grant things.
Well, here's the thing. The PGA Tour still hasn't commented on this, which is really funny how this has been out there for like a month and they've had absolutely nothing to say about it so far, which has been very interesting. So I think they're in a really tough spot. I think that they're trying to figure out how they're gonna handle this. And I think that they, like, if they're gonna maintain their processes and procedures, that they're always talking about, like, oh, the rules are rules, the rules are rules. Like, they have to enforce the rules. So they're gonna have to suspend or fine Rory for and Scottie for this event. Now, are they going to do that? Is SSG powerful enough?
No, they're not going to do it. They've already made it clear that the reason it's been pushed back to 17th is so they can get them their waivers to go and play. So my point is, if they got the waivers to go and play, they can't now deny that to other people to use their name, image, likeness, maybe for YouTube, maybe for challenge matches, maybe to go and play in 4 wildcard events.
Yeah.
Go and play maybe where I think this is a big problem, and I think Bryson and Brooks have stitched them right up. Maybe they want to go and play in a promotions event on the LIV Tour.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So
that's my take on it. Now you've given Rory and Scottie that. If I want to go and play in the LIV Promotions event, I'm not signing up to a new tour, am I? I'm not signing up to a new league. I'm just going to play in one single event. You've allowed them to go and do it.
Well, the other thing that I want people to keep in mind, this one event is not just a one-off event. Like, there is a whole plan here where the players participating in this are going to have equity. They're going to have an equity stake in this whole thing. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, they have a lot of big plans for these showdowns where they're going to potentially add in more players. Like, I could very much see a situation where if the PGA Tour and the rest of the golf establishment are not going to do this, I could see this particular event turning into a Ryder Cup style event where you can have the PGA Tour and LIV facing off in a number of matches, not just one. So with the players now having equity in it, because the players don't have equity in any of those other events. They don't have equity in the President's Cup or the Ryder Cup. So they have equity in LIV, the captains do. But outside of that, this is sort of unprecedented. So it's something that people need to keep an eye on, that this is just one event. It's going to lead to a lot more. The big question is, how is the PGA Tour going to respond to it?
Yeah, I've said this now for 6 to 8 weeks. Flush was one that said, look, you're on something here, this needs to be pushed. Like, it's not pushed, sort of addressed again. Like, it's just the way this is very clear. You cannot.
Yeah, it's exciting.
You cannot play favourites with rules and terms and conditions, because then you'll be favouring one member of staff over another in a contractual dispute. That's going to go down well. It's almost like the PGA Tour being in a court case where if they win, they're going to be found that they aren't independent contractors and have to backdate a load of pension pay they can't afford. And if they don't win, they are independent contractors and they go play where they want. It's almost like the PGA Tour are twice now going to find themselves in a lose-lose situation. Imagine not understanding those basic things and find yourself twice on a lose-lose.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that don't understand that.
The PGA Tour independent contractors case that's going on or going through. If they win and they're proven to not be independent contractors, the PGA Tour have to backdate pension pay to 2006.
Yeah, I know.
They can't afford that.
We're not. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I keep telling people, like, I
They're
think
not
that this.
winning.
No,
There's no
no.
winning there's no winning outcome.
This is why I keep telling people that like, I really do feel like, and I mean, look, this is a little bit of, tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff, but there's a lot of reasons why PGA Tour Enterprises was founded above the PGA Tour. Like, the PGA Tour is a entity, a wholly separate entity. So PGA Tour Enterprises now is for profit, that's subject to completely different rules and regulations. And like, I really do think that the end game of all this is if the PGA Tour, they get all of these penalties through these court cases. Like, I think that all of the assets, I'm not going to get too far down the line here, but I think that people need to start thinking about this. What happens if the PGA Tour is subject to all of these, fines and, backdating pensions and backdating pay and all that stuff, backdating any benefits through these court cases? Like, what's going to happen to the PGA Tour? I have my theories on it, like, because I've been thinking about this for like 2 years. So like what can happen here? So like, I want everybody to start thinking about this stuff for themselves.
You and I said, well, you and I were talking about it ages ago. I would say probably 9 months ago. I said, well, if anyone comes in, they'll just take the TPCs as collateral. That I imagine there'll be the default ownership stake based on a defaulting or shutting of the company or not being able to afford debts or X, Y, Z. I can't even bother to come up with the full terminology.
Yeah, they have a lot of assets.
Those TPC courses can just be stripped straight out of the PGA Tour into PGA Tour Enterprises, and then there's nothing left there anyway. Like, look, we will see what will happen. But yeah, the PGA Tour's been so well run. Jay's managed to find himself on the wrong side of two 50-50s that have actually both got heads on the same side of the coin, called tails. So there we go. Right.
Yeah.
Lots of rumours flying around. News that Eugenio is being cut. Sergio's confirmed he's being cut. Someone was floating around that David Pooge is being cut. Don't believe that at all. I don't see that. Not at all.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things people need to keep in mind. Look, the next 2 months is going to be a lot of fake news out there for sure, which is part of the reason why we are trying to be very careful with some of the information that we put out there, because it's like the next couple months is going to be so much happening. It's going to be very hard to parse out what's real and what's not. So
yeah. I think that the Eugenio thing has been quite clear.
Yes. Yeah, Sergio said it himself. Like, this is coming directly from the source.
But I mean, Eugenio has got 1 year left in his contract. If someone wants to pick it up, his contract's finished, but he's got 1 year left on LIV. If anyone wants to give him a contract, because he finished out of the relegation zone, so
he's in the open zone.
Because he's in the open zone. What I meant to say is he's got another year on LIV if someone wants to give him a contract. So Eugenio's situation is really simple. Either a team gives him a spot and he goes and joins them on a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contract, whatever they want to give out. Or if they don't, he has said he will go to the qualifying event, qualify himself on, and then someone has to take him.
Yep.
Now, we like Eugenio. He's a good guy. We had him on the podcast twice. I don't know if I would want to go and qualify for something where no one wanted me anyway. I'm just going to say, if no team wants him now, and no team is saying, hey, we can have you in the open zone, would I want to be qualifying and someone having to take me? Now, we don't know if another European team is going to form. We don't know if people are going to move around. We don't know this type of stuff yet. So there are some moving pieces. I'm just saying, would I want to go and qualify?
So one of the important things is that for the promotions event, it's not just the spots on LIV, but it's also exemptions into the international series next year as well. So, which I think that he would probably get a bunch of invites anyway, because he's that good of a player. I think he'd also probably try to play on the European Tour, because if he went to the European Tour right now, he would start cleaning up for sure. So he's already played in a few European Tour events already. He's playing all around the world. I think he's playing in Japan. He's playing in Japan this week. He's a world traveler. He's willing to play wherever it takes. And look, he's made life-changing money on LIV the last 3 years. He can afford to sort of pick and choose what he wants to do. And that's like one of the great parts about LIV. For any young players, you have these opportunities to earn life-altering, amounts of money. So instead of just like grinding it out on the Corn Ferry Tour and like, going into debt, paying all these people that want to that want to back you, that like want to own part of your business and your brand. Shout out Tony Finau. That's something these young players need to keep in mind. Like, it's a really important thing. Like, you want to be able to be financially independent. Eugenio Chacarra is financially independent, can do whatever he wants now. So again, we'll have to see how it plays out. I still think that there's a lot of options for him, which is great. I mean, he may decide to sort of play in America. I mean, who knows? So we'll have to see.
I want to move on and just say I also found the irony that for playing in the Showdown, they get paid $4 million, which is the same as a win on LIV. Just really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that the amount's exactly the same. I think it's just I think some poetry to it. You get $4 million for playing for winning a exhibition event. No, in this one you get $4 million just for playing in it.
I don't think that money has been confirmed just yet. I don't know if it's exactly that much. I think it's less than that. And I think that, again, with the equity stakes and all this stuff, I haven't gotten any confirmation on what the appearance fees are yet. I've heard some of the information that's been out there, and people have said it's not accurate. So I'm waiting to hear from the authorities on this. So again, all this will probably come out, but look, Phil Mickelson got $9 million for their first match that he did with Tiger, even though I think $1 million had to be paid to the PGA Tour, which is crazy. So, like, I mean, could it be $2 million appearance? I mean, yeah, I think that sounds fair.
What do you think of Luke Donald saying that Sergio Garcia could be part of the Ryder Cup? What do you see? What do you make of Keegan Bradley saying he'll pick the best players? Before you answer it, I'm pretty sure if people go back, we predicted this would happen. But hey, people don't like it when I say I told you so. It was always going to happen. But what do you feel about it now being said and publicly out there?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's always one thing to say things publicly. It's another thing to actually follow up on it. So I want to hold all these guys that are part of the Ryder Cup accountable, because, like, at this point, I don't believe what anybody says. Like, I just don't. Especially coming from that part of it. So I do think, like, if I had to guess, I would say Keegan is a man of his word. And I think that I remember someone at his press conference asking him, would Phil Mickelson potentially be a vice captain? And he said, well, he's not sure if Phil's interested. I think Keegan needs to pick up the phone, talk to Phil, see what he's thinking, just like talk about this and just sort of see what happens. Like,
yeah, don't wonder. Just get on with it. Just check.
Yeah, like that, because with everything that's gone on, like, I think the most important thing in all of this is that we need active olive branches to the other side. So Keegan Bradley, Luke Donald, we need active olive branches to the LIV players. I know Luke Donald's already been doing it with Tyrrell Hatton. Like, he's had a bunch of dinners with Tyrrell Hatton already. He's doing the same thing with John Rahm. Is great. He's dropping Sergio's name, which is awesome, because, look, Sergio's playing really, really great right now, and he would be a huge asset. I mean, he's been like the winningest player in Ryder Cup history. Of course, he's a huge asset to your team,
and he's playing so well.
And he's playing great, and he doesn't have that many years left. Let's just be honest. Like, Sergio and I are of a similar age, and, like, I've been watching Sergio since I was a teenager. So, and he is 44 now. So, like, he's got a little bit of time left. He's got a few more, Ryder Cups where I think he could play at a high level. That being said, the most important thing is getting him back in the mix, and I think that he's still got a few sort of T's to cross and I's to dot, just based off of getting his European Tour membership back, which I think is going to resolve itself at some point here in the near future. But
do you know what? If they don't just give Sergio, Westy, Polt, Stenson, Blandy their memberships back, look, do you know what? we now view that you served a 3-year ban and that was enough. We don't need any more fines. They can walk away with it with a little bit of, you've served a ban. We all think we should be together now. If they want to try and save face on whatever else, I think saving face is often a really poor thing to do in that instance. Just take your medicine. But they need those guys back. The Olive France needs to be offered. And quite frankly, golf is going to be a better place when we have all these people playing together, as we've seen.
Yeah, 1,000%. One of the things that was really disappointing to me about the Dunhill, one of the very few things I was disappointed by, because look, there were 14 LIV players in the field. I know Ian Poulter wanted to play in this event too. Got an invite from Johan Rupert, the organizer of the event. And unfortunately, because of the logistical issues with the DP World Tour, he was not able to play in it. This is one of the last bridges that needs to be, the last barriers that needs to be or removed for these guys. And I think that it would be a great goodwill measure. Like, I mean, who in their right mind wouldn't want some of these great European Tour stars to play in European Tour events? Like, it makes no sense banning these guys and suspending them. Like, it makes zero sense. So they need to get their act together.
They're legends of the tour. We've said this. Yeah. We've said this before. It just drives me mad, and there's nothing more we can really say on it. That it just. Now, we had a few movements in the world of golf media. We had a few movements in Dan Rappaport was sacked. Was he sacked or was not have his contract renewed? Didn't have his contract renewed.
He just didn't have his contract renewed, yeah.
I apologise. He wasn't sacked. Dan Rappaport wasn't sacked.
I think Kyle Porter was sacked, though. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not coming on that because I don't know. But Dan didn't have his contract renewed. You're saying that Kyle Porter was sacked. I don't know. I just know that I don't think he's the greatest reporter out there. So maybe he didn't have his contract renewed either. We don't really know the inner workings on that per se. So we don't know if Kyle Porter was sacked. We just don't know. Now, what I do know is that Rory body bagged him and he didn't realise he was being body bagged. that, my friend, I do know.
Look, that was a great get for him to get Rory, as his first interview for his new set. Yeah,
thought it was.
No, I think regardless, even if he did get body bagged, like, I think it's a huge boost for him. Somebody that needs it for his newsletter, of course. But I think what Rory said is like a really, really important thing about the golf media that, like, people already know.
Everyone's trying to avoid.
This is a horse that I have completely beaten, dragged through the mud, like, the last 2 years. If anybody knows if you don't know my feelings about the golf media at this point, like, what are we even doing here? Like, you obviously haven't listened to anything that I've said for the last 2 years. That being said, I think Rory said some really important things that I know these guys take seriously, because Rory is like their idol in so many ways. Like, there was somebody in the golf media that called Rory his king. So, and I'm not going to name names, but yeah, it was totally gross. So, but people like that are going to listen to this. They're going to read this and they're going to start thinking about it the next time they're saying something negative about pro golf in general. I think this was a really important stake in the ground, a really important moment.
I'm just trying to find what's the name of the guy that we spent some time with and walked with who runs Bunkered. What's his name?
Yeah, Michael McEwen.
Michael McEwen. Did you see that he had a little? Do you see that he had a little row with Corrigan?
Oh, did he? No, I didn't see this. I didn't see the stuff.
Yeah. Corrigan and the thinnest skin in the world. Bunkered. If you want cheerleaders, give us something to cheer about. Why Rory McIlroy's recent comments about the media were misjudged. This is bang on and very well said. This is Michael McEwen. This is bang on and very well said. Rory's smart enough to know that it's not the media's job to cheerlead. By the way, I don't disagree with that comment.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Oh, don't tell me. Corrigan deleted his comments. Oh, no. I was so excited to read them out.
That sounds like something he would do for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, Corrigan got his knickers in a twist, and Michael went, blah, 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 and then James, it's just that
these guys got to stand by what they say. This is part of the reason why I don't respect them.
Each other. Well, I like Michael. Look, I know I like him.
No, yeah, he's fine.
I spent time with him.
I'm talking about Corrigan.
He's a good bloke. He's a good bloke. Corrigan, well.
Look, I need these guys to stand by what they say. Like, even my guy Ben On, when he was talking about Wyndham Clark for the President's Cup, and he like deleted his tweet and apologized. I'm like, no, you said that. That's how you felt. You need to stand on that. Like, stop with this like stuff where you're putting stuff out and deleting it. No, I need you to stand by what you say.
Do you know what annoys me, right? And I've said this before, and I don't like Eamon Lynch's views. Eamon Lynch is a fantastic writer, use of the English language. Corrigan's a fantastic writer. But what?
Don't get me started on these guys. Don't do it.
But what I find is you say that they have a view, they have a stance, they change and they move. Or sometimes they take a stance that seems to align. It's the old one. Who's telling me? What have they got to? Why are they telling me? And what have they got to gain from telling me? And I think if we start to remember to view a lot of the stuff that comes across like that, and it's interesting to see how many people were in very, very anti-LIV voicings and are now no longer at their old employer. Because if you've been very anti-LIV and the ship is turning, quite rightly, oh, these guys aren't here to play. These guys aren't here to play. These guys don't care. These guys aren't competitive. Didn't see anyone saying that until Hatton body bagged everyone and took first place. When four of the top 10 were LIV players.
Yep.
It just grinds my gear. Like, I know you don't like the PGA Tour. I still like the PGA Tour. I just don't like I don't know where it's run. There is good golf everywhere. We know that.
Yes.
I know you got it with the Birdie Bros. You've got to stop arguing with the Birdie Bros. You're both nice people, but they said about the DP World Tour having good players. You're like, no, they're all trash. Like, all right, I can't even get involved.
That's not what I said. That is not what I said.
I even removed myself. I even removed myself from that thread. I was like, nah, turn off notifications. This thread. I got two mates going at it. I don't need it. Right. But my point is, there is good golf everywhere. We know there's good golf everywhere. The international series is now coming up really quick alongside the DP World Tour and standard golf. The PGA Tour has taken a drop because it's lost some of its talent. LIV still hasn't maybe got quite all the talent to be right at the very top. You've got all this sort of stuff going on. We've got the majors. We've got certain events. I don't think it's on doubt. I don't think there's any argument at all. If LIV pick up 3 or 4 of the top 5 Asian players, that'd be 3 of the top 50, and LIV pick up 2 or 3 others, the top 50 on the PGA Tour, maybe a Victor Hovland, maybe a Shane Lowry, maybe a Tommy Fleetwood, maybe a Rory McIlroy. Ignore Rory. Let's leave Rory up the side because obviously he's number 1, 2, 3 in golf. Right? Let's leave him to the side. Let's say it's just Tommy and Shane come over with Victor, and Rory doesn't come over and bring Tommy and Shane with him, and there's nothing to do with that. All those 3 being together. When Rory does come over, he brings Tommy and Shane. Let's say that doesn't happen. Let's say it's just Tommy, Shane, and the 3 Asian guys. Okay. You could argue now that LIV is as strong, if not stronger, than the PGA Tour. The scales are just tipping. But my point is, the media are still so reluctant. Not the media. I apologise. Some parts of the media are still so reluctant to admit that LIV is here. They want to. They just want to pretend that it doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
But I will say, Sky did a much, much fairer job than the horrid coverage they gave to LIV players, because they do amazing coverage of the Masters. The Sky coverage of the Masters is a thing to behold. It's phenomenal. But they did a horrible job with the LIV players. Oh, where's he playing now? Oh, I've not seen him in 2 years. Like, well, then watch it. But they didn't do that for Dunhill. Right. A couple of times, there's a couple of comments about Puig. I don't know much about him. He plays on LIV. It's like, ugh. But it was nearly as it should be. So if Sky have moved that way, why is there some of the other media that just are not willing to get that way at all?
Yeah, this kind of goes into my problems with the media, and there's more to it than just being anti-LIV. There's a lot of people, especially the left-leaning and sort of liberal media here in the United States is very anti-Saudi. Like, let's just call it what it is. And there are particular reasons why they are. We've heard all the talking points, but I think it's even deeper than that. So, and I'm not going to get into the details of why exactly that is. However, just know that there's some of these guys have very, very deep rooted hatred in a lot of ways of everything that LIV stands for, Greg Norman, the Saudi PIF, everything involved with it. So those are going to be the last pillars to fall in this whole thing. Like, if they want to basically maintain their business, they're going to have to flip it at some point. And all of these guys are run by money. There's no question about it. Once they realize their money is potentially going to be sacrificed, they're going to flip. There's no question about it. And there's other podcasts out there that, like, I already see that the game that they're trying to play, this game of 3-card money that I keep talking about on social media, they're going to try to keep playing this game to get into LIV's good graces. They've got a lot of hurdles to clear before they're even close to where they want to be with LIV. So, I mean, can they get there? I don't know.
I think that they will probably get there in some respect due to the size of their organisations, but I also think that they don't realise how. I won't say the player. And for anyone who thinks it's one of the people I normally name, it isn't. I was sat with a player who said they'd be damned if they did an interview with a certain 3-lettered change our G to an N. They said they will never speak to them. And I was sat with another player who they'd previously had on their show. Also had talked about or did something with, I can't remember what it was, and said they'd never speak to him again. Yep. Because of all the abuse and hatred they sent their way. So even if LIV as an organisation were to allow them more access, which they might a bit, the players detest them. The players on LIV detest them and others because of how horrible they were and how nasty and how bullying they were.
Yep. And let's just call it what it is. Their management team is very, very involved in that. I don't have any questions in my mind about it. They're also the same management that is part of the faction of the PGA Tour that does not want the Saudi PIF to invest in it. This stuff is not coincidental. They're also the management team that had a player go to LIV and immediately drop that player. And I know that player in particular is very, very upset about that. And there's been other people that have gotten involved with LIV that were formerly managed by that team. As soon as they get involved with LIV, they get dropped. This stuff is not coincidental. I don't like it. This is one of those management companies that I think the world of golf would be way better if it just didn't exist. I really feel the way. I'm not going to get into the details now because we're running out of time. However, just know long term, this is something people need to keep an eye on. It's something that is a huge problem, and that's a problem that has to be solved here if we're going to move forward in a cohesive way to get golf where it needs to be.
Right. Good. I don't disagree. Now, a segment that got quite liked last time was tomorrow's headlines today, stolen from Colin Cowherd. Now, I'm going to go for tomorrow's headlines today. You ready?
Let's do it.
The sun is rising in Saudi. And that's going to be because I believe we're going to have 2 or 3 almost back-to-back events in Saudi Arabia with the Saudi International and the qualification series, and then flicking straight into the start of the LIV season in Saudi. But hate Saudi. Do what you want with Saudi money. I don't care. What I'm going to say is, though, having spent time in Saudi, I loved it there. Couldn't have been treated any more nicely. Yep. I've got to take people as I find them. And I've always been treated with the utmost respect and care by everyone involved.
1000%.
They love golf. Yes. And they're going to have 3 big events there. And we're going to finish the year with 2 events in Saudi and then kick off the year with an event in Saudi. Yeah, the sun is rising in Saudi.
There's actually 4 if you include the Aramco Team Series ladies event that's also in Saudi.
Yeah.
So we're talking 4 events all in Riyadh. So I think that's a great one. I definitely think that's It's kind of where things are trending. And look, I know a lot of people from Saudi. This is part of the reason why I am so adamant in my takes defense of Saudi Arabia as a country, because when you know people from there, it changes your perspective on things. So my perspective has been changed the last 5 years. There's no question about it. And they have a right to participate in global sport, and they have the resources to do it. So, and I know there's other people, the people that are anti-Saudi have other agendas. And again, I'm not going to get into that now. However, just know that they do. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how things go the next few months. I'm really interested to see Riyadh Golf Club, where we sort of shift a little bit from Jeddah to Riyadh. Riyadh's more of a economic center. Right. There's more people there. The golf course is much closer.
It's not that Jeddah isn't a massive centre. Jeddah's huge. It's just that Jeddah's nowhere near the golf course. Right. 65 kilometres in the desert.
Yeah, and Riyadh Golf Club is right in the middle of the city, basically. It's like 10 minutes or something from the airport.
Have you got a headline?
Yeah. So I will say tomorrow's headline today. Hideki Matsuyama highlights the LIV Golf event in Tokyo, Japan in 2025.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which, ladies and gentlemen, we don't need any explanation for that one, do we, ladies and gentlemen? So just to help you out, Jay's saying that A, there's going to be an event in Japan, and B, Hideki Matsuyama is going to come and join LIV, and C, he's going to be the headline of it. So have I got the gist of that, Jay?
Pretty much. You kind of put me on the spot there a little bit. Didn't really have one, but that
deliberately
was one
so. Deliberately so. I didn't want you to have any time to prepare because I dislike you.
I'll be prepared next time, though. I promise you. I'm going to start creating all these headlines to just pull out whenever I need it. So
right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go.
One, so, yeah.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, take care. Goodbye. Have a lovely evening, lovely weekend, and don't forget to subscribe, share, save, retweet it, Instagram it, send it to your friends, because we would love the support. Goodbye.